Hello everyone. Okay, so let's talk about setting some configurations in Git. So now there are three places that we normally set configuration files. So there are system-wide settings, there are user-wide settings, and then there are project-wide settings. So the configuration file, or to store the configuration for system-wide, for the entire system, which is every single user using the system, is normally going to be at the top of your hard disk inside the folder etc. So it's going to, if you wanted to cd to that location, it would be, cd forward slash etc. So this is where it would be for system-wide settings. If you wanted to set it for user-wide settings, it would be in your user directory. So right now, if I do a pwd, I'm in my user directory K, and it would be inside a hidden file or a dot file called .git config. If I did an ls-la for long listing and list all files, and I hit enter, notice there's going to be a dot file called .git config that's going to contain all my configurations for the user, for the particular user using the system. I'm going to use Command K to clear the screen or clear the scroll back. And if you wanted to set configuration files, which happens not too often, for individual project, normally if your project is called, let's say, test project, like this, it would be inside that project folder, inside a hidden folder called git, right? So .git, and then config. This will be where it's at. But don't worry too much about this. Most of the time we're going to be setting configurations for the user, right? So in order to set configurations, they all begin with the command git space config, and then you use a modifier or option to specify how wide you want these settings to be applied. So if you want it applied to the entire system, which is every single user, it's git config and then the modifier -- system, and this will be configuration set for the entire system. If you want it set for a particular user, it will be the same thing, git config space -- but system changes to global, and so this will set configurations for the particular user. And if you want it set for a particular project, it would be just git config. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Let's set some configurations for the particular user, me, who's logged in. So one of the common things that we set is the username. For this particular user, the username for the Git account is going to be something. I'm going to set that. So in order to set the username, it's going to be git. They all begin with git space config. And so when I do this, I'm basically setting configurations in that .git config hidden file or dot file in my user directory. So I type git config and then space -- and I'm setting it for the user, right? So it's global, and then a space, and I set the username. So git config space -- user dot name, and then a space, and then in double quotations my username. So I'm just going to say kakraditome. All right, hit enter, and it has been set. We're going to take a look at it in a sec, but let's also set the email. Same thing, it's git config. I just hit the up arrow key to bring the command, my last command, back. So git config space -- global user dot email space in double quotations my email, right? So kakraditome@gmail.com, and I'm going to hit enter. So we've set two configurations now. We can list what's inside the configuration file to see what's inside it, and the way we do that is with git config space -- list, and it has a bunch of configurations in here, a lot of ones that default ones, but if you actually scroll all the way down, you notice that the ones I just set are added to the bottom of the configuration file. So I'm going to use Command K to clear my scroll back, if I do an ls space dash la, L for long listing, A for list all files including dot files, here is my git config that I showed you earlier. I can do a cat or a less on that file .git config to see what's inside that file. And notice that I set the two configurations, right, for the user name kakraditome and email kakraditome@gmail.com. I can use Q to quit out of less, and I can set a few more. So another one that I would want to set is the color. So sometimes you just have plain white text, but sometimes having some kind of color coding is important to see certain things clearly. It's not, sometimes it's turned on by default, but it's not always turned on by default. So you can set that configuration as well. And if I want to set it for the user level, same thing, it's git. Let's clear my screen a little bit, so Command K. Or you can also type in clear and hit enter to clear your screen. But if I wanted to set the color of the UI, it will be git config space dash dash and global for the user level settings, and then space color.ui and space and then true. True doesn't go around with double quotations because it's a boolean, right? So true. And then I hit enter. So that has also been set. And I'm going to set one more, which is going to be the core editor. Sometimes Git will prompt or pop up with a text editor for you to make changes to certain things. For example, long commit messages or multiple line commit messages. So we can set the default text editor that pops up if you have a preferred one. So I'm going to also set that configuration. So git config space dash dash global for the user level settings, and that is going to be core.editor and then a space, and I can set it to, in quotations, whatever the name of the text editor I use. Most of them just use the name, like the name of the text editor. So if it's brackets, for example, you just type in brackets. If it's Emacs, you just type in Emacs. If it's Vim, you just type in Vim. I'm just going to set it to Nano for now. It's a very simple text editor, so I can use it to edit certain things. And I'm going to hit enter here. So now I've set 4 user level configurations, and I can set more if I want. But if I do an ls space dash la again, and I look inside this, where is it? This dot git config file, using less dot git config. Notice I've set a few more. I've set the name, the email, the UI, and then the editor. So you can set lots more configurations. You can go online and figure out whatever you want to change to customize your environment or make it behave a certain way. But this is how you start setting some of these configurations. I'm going to hit Q to exit. We're going to learn more about this stuff going forward, but I just wanted you to have a feel for how to set some of these configurations. All right, if you have any questions, please post down below and I'll do everything to respond to them. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time with the next video. All right then, bye-bye.